Matt Hancock has declined to speculate about whether the government may have to bring in tougher measures to curb the spread of the virus. Let's talk to Honey Langcaster-James, a chartered academic social and behavioural psychologist who joins us now. I mean, people are already fed up with the lockdown as it is already. I mean, how much further could it go, do you think? And would people comply?
Well, I think you're right. People are fed up, but there will be many, many people watching this right now who have been sticking to the rules, who are doing their part, and who actually are very frustrated with the minority of people who aren't following the rules and who are doing their own thing. And I think one of the things that's happening is that people are getting fed up with that. They're thinking, well, my life's restricted, maybe my business is restricted, I'm finding it hard, people are struggling with their mental health and things because of it, and then they see other people flouting the rules. Which makes it even harder. And then I think about the impact on our frontline workers, our essential workers as well, how it must feel to them to still be having to face people denying what's going on when this is their everyday reality. It's a very serious situation, and I think we do need to trust the medical experts who are advising, saying this is what you need to do. You need to stay at home, not just to prevent yourself from getting the virus, but to prevent yourself from having any other kind of accident or injury and then putting a strain on the healthcare system. And also, of course, because your behaviour influences the behaviour of others. So when other people see you behaving in a compliant way, in a way that is helpful, they will follow suit. But if other people see you breaking the rules, doing things, stretching the limits, thinking they don't apply to you, then how many more people might be influenced to do that? And that's when the whole system breaks down.
Do the rules need to be tightened, and if so, where?
The honest answer is I'm not an expert in viral behaviour or anything like that. So I would turn to the experts for that. They will tell us what these rules need to be. What I am an expert in is human behaviour. And what we need is consistent messaging, but that messaging will change according to the rates, according to the capacity in our hospitals. And we need to trust and have faith that the message, the instructions that we're being given at any one time are appropriate for the current circumstances. And yes, that is frustrating. It is really, really hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for my family. It's hard for everyone. But we have to trust that they are doing the best that they can to manage this very, very, very difficult situation.
So psychologically, if some people have already had COVID, and of course there are many who have, I suppose, is it tempting for them to think, I've had it, the chances are I'm not going to be getting it again and I can't give it to other people, so why should these rules apply to me?
Yes, I think that's very, very true. I mean, actually, classic social psychology studies going back years have shown that if we can't understand the impact of our behaviour having sort of down the line a negative impact on someone else, then we're less likely to do something about it. And that's one of the problems. So if you are somebody who's either had COVID already and recovered, great, lucky you, or you perhaps are convinced that if you get it, it's not going to be a big problem. Yes, you might be inclined to think that you're not adding to the problem, but what you are doing is you're displaying your behaviour, and other people will be influenced by that, who perhaps will go on to spread it to someone else. And you're also putting a strain on services in another way. You're putting a mental health strain on our healthcare workers, who need to see that their efforts are not in vain and that the general public are behind them, not just by getting on our doorsteps and clapping for them, but that we're behind them by staying at home, by following the rules, by taking the credible expert advice and doing our part. That is how we can play our part and keep our healthcare workers going mentally and psychologically while they face the front lines.
And what's more important, strict police enforcement, no warnings, straightaway fines, or gentle persuasion?
Well, I personally think that the rules have to be the rules. And if people are breaking the rules, there do have to be consequences, because that not only curbs that particular person's behaviour, but it also sends an important message to other people. And it is consistent. It's authoritative. I'm not talking about draconian measures. I'm not talking about the fact that, yes, of course, there will be people with exceptional circumstances or going about their very essential job or something like that. Of course, we need to be responsive, but we also need to be authoritative. It's not enough to just say to people, well, this is what needs to happen, and we're going to leave it up to you to see if you want to follow along with that or not, because unfortunately that's confusing. And what we actually need is clear, secure advice. And when people feel secure, when they feel like they know what the rules are, they know that someone's in charge, and they know that someone else is going to check that behaviour if someone deviates from that, it actually makes everyone feel more emotionally secure. And that's when we can also be more compassionate and have more empathy for each other, and we're less angry, and we're less likely to take risky behaviours as well. So there are so many reasons why it's just a really good idea to just keep listening to what the rules are and following them to the very best of your ability.
OK, Honey Langcaster-James, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on BBC News.